Hello and welcome to today's bag making class. So for today's class, this is what we're doing. It's quite different from our usual, but trust me, it's very interesting to model out. So let's get on with the project. But before I carry on, I would say that if today is the first time you're watching us, I'll advise that you subscribe so that you'll be notified when another video comes out. And if you've been with us for a while, I would also advise that you subscribe if you have not, and then you hit on the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video is uploaded. So let's get on. So this is our bag. This is how it looks like. I hope that I've done justice to the drawing, but let's go on with the things we need. So what we're using today are basic things you find in your house. Okay, I've not moved too far from that. So you need some cartons or empty cereal boxes. As you can see, rice snaps and all, these are empty cereal boxes I'm using. If you don't want to be using a box, you can also use the foam, the craft foam we usually use. But I want to use boxes for this project. You may be thinking of the durability and all. Trust me, it's very durable. But if you're worried about it getting wet in the rain and all of that, you can always go for your craft box. But this kind of bag, usually you would use them in summer, you know, when you're going to the beach or, you know, during summer. So I think you're going to be safe with it. Let's get on. So I cut out the shape of my circle with a dinner plate, and the diameter of my circle is 9 inches. You can go as big as you want. You can go as small as you want. It's entirely up to you. But whatever you decide to do, you're going to need 4 circles of the same shape. So I have 4 circles of the same shape. Then you also need another strip, like a strip to go around it. So this strip goes from the side right down to the bottom to the other side. Okay, so that is what forms the base and the side of the bag. These two will form the front, and these two will form the back of the bag. I'll explain to details as we go along. So my strip here is 2.5 inches, as you can see over here, and the length of my strip is 19 inches. So if your dinner plate or the size of your circle is 9 inches in diameter, then you can also cut your strip as long as 19 inches, and the width will be 2.5 inches. So let's get it again. The diameter of my circle is 9.5 inches. So if the size of your dinner plate or your circle is 9.5 inches in diameter, then your strip can be 19 inches long and 2.5 inches wide. Let's find out how you can generate your strip if the size of your circle is bigger than mine or smaller than mine. So the main thing you do is to find the side of your strip. First, you decide at what point you want your strip to be going. So mine, I decided that mine will start from here and finish off here. Okay, so what you do is just to take your tape measure all the way around, and you do it gently as you go around it like that until you find out the actual length that you want. But I think for the width, if you leave it at 2.5 inches, that should be enough. Now you can see that I've put sellotape here as reinforcement. That is true because the carton I use, or the box I use, has folds in them. You agree with me that because it's a box that is folded up. Now let me show you what I mean. You see that it's joined like that. So if you try to open it up, you definitely have the folds of the actual box in there. So what I did was to reinforce these folds with some sellotape. So I did that a couple of times on the front and a couple of times on the back to make it stand firm. And I also did that for all of them. Now another thing I can also suggest is, if you are worried that the cardboard may not be durable, you can also use the sellotape to wrap the whole box up as a protective film for your box before you start covering them with fabrics. Okay, so I've talked about the shape, I've talked about the measurement. Now let's move on to the bit where you'll be holding your bag. Okay, so that is where I hold my bag. So I figured out where the middle of my bag is, and as you can see, I cranked it up here, so I know this is where the middle of my bag is. I got the sellotape and then I positioned it. I measured from here to see if my sellotape is, or the rounded thing I'm using to make my hole, is positioned in the middle, and then I drew a line around it. Now I could have left it the way, like as a circle. If you want it, you can leave it as a circle, but I realized that my hand, it will be a bit of a struggle and not be too comfortable if I just leave it as a circle, because I didn't have anything bigger than this to draw my circle for my handle to hold. So when I did the circle, I opened it up at the corners a little bit for it to look like an eye, and actually that gives me a comfortable hold. If you have a bigger object to draw your circle, you can go for it, but if you don't have it, you can always manipulate it into what you actually want. It could have been a square. I could have made a square. It can be anything really. Just play about along with shapes to give you a unique look. So that is what I have. When I did that, I cut the shape out and then I transferred my drawings onto the rest of my boxes. Okay, so then I know that I'm not moving too far away from the other shapes, and I transferred it like that. So I left one to cut out for you to see, and I cut it out with this cutter. So you just gently go along the drawn line to cut out the shape. Basically that is about it. Okay, so I just cut out the shape for this one. Now let's get on to the modeling of the bag proper. Okay, so for each side of the bag you would need two different fabrics. You need the main fabric and then the lining fabric. So this is my main and my lining for that, and this is my main and my lining for that. Now let's talk about it. I said earlier on that for each side I'm going to need two. Okay, so I'll wrap one of the circles with my main fabric and then the other circle with my lining fabric. And when I've done that, I'll bring both of them together, and then that forms part of the bag. Okay, so I'm going to do them separately. Now let me talk about how I generated my shape and everything else that comes with it. You're seeing, so this will be my main fabric, or the main body of the bag, and then my base of the bag comes here. So I drew the shape out onto a fabric. Like you can see, this is the actual size of my circle. I went away from there and then I left space of about 0.7 inches all around it. Okay, so you do that for both main fabric and then your lining fabric. So in total you'll be cutting two main fabrics, as you can see, two main fabrics and two lining fabrics. When you've done that, you just give some serrations on the space that you've left. You just give some slits all around it, and make sure you are cutting very close to your drawn circle. You see, as you can see, you can cut. You can leave an interval of about an inch all the way around as you cut. You do it for all your fabrics. So when you've done that, now we have to come to the strip itself that goes around the bag and at the base. Okay, and that is what I have here. So for that too, I cut two pieces of fabric. I cut my lining fabric, and then I cut the main fabric. For the lining fabric, I left half of an inch all the way around. Okay, and then for the main fabric, I left about 1 inch. This project works a lot with glue, so we'll be using a lot of glue in this project. Okay, you can decide to use the evostick glue or PVA or Gorilla, but I've decided to use the evostick glue. But if you don't have evostick glue, you can always use the PVA, the Gorilla glue, or whatever glue you have that would be able to stick paper and fabric. Will work brilliantly. Okay, so I'm working separately. I'm going to get some of the glue just around the corner, so I'm going to do it for you to see how it's done. Then I'll go off to work on the rest and then come back and finish off with you. So I'll just put some glue around the edges here as I go along. Just spread some glue. And then I would bring these over. Okay, so I'm going to do that for the whole bit. Now you must make sure that you are actually pulling everything so that the edges here looks clean and properly covered. So I'm going to go all the way around it as we go. Okay, I'm going to do that for the whole bit, and then do that for the lining and everything else, and then we take it from there. But remember, you have to be stretching your fabric so that you don't have a fold in the front or anywhere else. So as you go around, be stretching your fabric gently so that it's properly stretched along the paper or your cardboard. And my main fabric are both covered. Now I'm going to set them aside and then cover my strip as well. I'm first going to wrap my lining around my strip first. Okay, let me set these aside properly and have enough room to work here. So I'm going to wrap my strip around. So I'm going to wrap my lining around my strip first. So everything is going to go around it. Now watch me as I do it. I'm just spreading some glue right along the edges all the way around it, all the way around it. Okay, all the way around it. Then I'll just lift the side and drop it on top of my look. So I'm going to do that all around it. For all the sides, for all the 4 sides, I'm doing that. Okay, and I'm going to finish it off like that. Okay, so as you can see, I've just put some glue all around it, and I've also put some in the middle. I'm just going to stick it on top of my lining. So I first traced out the actual size of my strip, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stick it in the middle and press it down. Okay, just going to make sure that everything is firmly put together, and then we carry on from there. So now for the edges here, I'll just put some glue on it, fold it on top of it like that, trying to finish it off, and then put some glue here and then fold it on top of it as well like that. Okay, so this project is more of a glue work, but you can choose to put your stitches wherever you want to put them. At least you have the idea and you know what to do, but it's up to you if you want to add your own versions to it. And basically, this is how we're going to be doing it today. Okay, so I'll put a little glue here to do a single fold like that, and then when that is done, I put some more glue onto the fold and then fold it back on itself again. Okay, so there we have it for our strip. Now what is left is also to put some serrations or some slits into the strip like we did for the circles. So I'm going to be putting them at about 1 inch all the way around, and then on this side as well. Okay, so that is done. I've done all my cuttings. When you set that on the side, the next thing is to draw our shape for the handle, leaving about this length. I'm leaving about 7.5 inches, or you can also leave a half of an inch if you want. So leave half of an inch from where your cut is, and then you come in and try and trace this mark out. Okay, try and trace the mark out. You do that for all of them. Okay, now this is what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to cut out this shape here. If this will not cut out, you can always do with the scissors, you know, and then gently cut around the shape. Okay. When you've cut out the shape, you cut out this way and you also cut out this way. Okay, you're going to be cutting some marks into this, some slits into this as well, and then up here too. Okay, now we're going to get some glue all around here and then stick it on top of it like we did for the rounded bit. So we are going to do it for all of this, okay, as well, just to finish that area up. Okay, so when you look at it from the back, this is what we have. I'm going to do that for all the other circles in the same way. Finish them all like that, and then we take it from there. Okay, so now everything is glued down. All the handles are glued down beautifully. The next thing for us to do is to put the strap around this edge here. So you first find the center of your first circle, then you find the center of the strap as well. So I just folded it into two, and wherever the break was, that was that's going to be my starting point. As I stated, I just made a mark in there as well. I'm going to match the edges here together, so I'm going to put some glue on that side. Okay, at this point your glue has to be enough because this is going to be the base of the bag. Okay, so a lot of pressure is going to be here, so put enough glue so that the sticking is quite firm. Okay, I'm going to now line up my edges so you can see the bottom bit here. Now as I go along, I'm going to lift it and then I'll be sticking it. Okay, so gently we would stick all of them in place. Now you can see me as I stick it. So I'm going to carry on and stick it all the way around. And then we take it from there. Okay, now I've done the inside bit for this bag. I'm going to have to put some glue in here and then stick the lining over it. I've lined up the lining. We are left to do the other base for this one. So I know that my middle bit is here. I'm going to extend it just about here, and then find the center for this one as well, if I'm right. Okay, so my center bit is here, so I'm going to try and line up my centers. It's very necessary to be able to line up your center bits so that you don't have any of them shifting its place. So in the same way, I'm going to bring all of this also together to form the other half of the bag. So I'll put some glue here and start sticking this bit there. Okay, so I want to do a pouch so that we can place it inside the bag. Okay, so I cut my fabric 7 inches in length by 8 inches in width, 2 of those pieces, and I folded 1 inch down on this side and 1 inch down on this side. Okay, I'll place one of my fabric on one side and then the other on this side. Now this is a metallic zip, so you're not going to cover the zip, just want the teeth to show. So I'm going to stitch it on both sides and then I bring it back and then we take it from there. Okay, so I've finished stitching the pouch. When I did the zip, I turned it to the back and stitched the sides. I trimmed it off and then I ran a zigzag edge finish over there. So I'm going to open it up now and then see how the pouch actually looks. Okay, so it's just a little pouch for the bag, and basically that's it. So that is it, that drops inside the bag like that. Okay, so I'm taking these pegs off and then our bag is complete with a pouch. So if you have something you want to hide, your money, your purse, something, your phone, that goes into the pouch, and that is it. So we've come to the end of today's class. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give our video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so that you'll be notified when a new video is uploaded. Until we see you again in our next video, have a lovely day. Bye.